Needs Love, and I'm also a member of Women for Environment. So today, in honor of the World Environment Day, we are adhering to the theme of this year, which is Beat Plastic Pollution, and we will be discussing practical solutions for reducing the plastic waste from awareness to action. I'm here with Saadatu Umar Ibrahim, and together we are going to moderate this session. We also have with us our wonderful speakers, including Sakshi and Sean, and the rest of the two would be joining us soon. Let's hope for that. And as I can see, we have wonderful participants as well, and I hope you all participate because you all will be provided with certificates at the end of this session. Now, over to you, Saadatu.
Hello.
Yes, Saadatu.
Good evening, my esteemed speakers. Can you hear me?
Yes, Saadatu, we can.
Hello.
You're on. Yes, yes.
Yes. My name is Saadatu Umar Ibrahim, a co-host of this Artist Love event. I welcome you all to this wonderful event. Hope you all learn from this session. I'm a member of the Artist Love Eco Club Nigeria and Women for the Environment. Before our speakers come on board, can each participant tell us from which country you are joining us from? You can write it down in the chat box.
Yes, please, everybody use the chat box and let us know where you're joining from. Your countries, please. Write down in the chat box so we can know. Okay, great. We have Mariam Khan from Pakistan. Everybody else, please. Okay, we have a lot of people from Pakistan. That's great. Okay, we have people joining from Saudi, Pakistan. Okay, the majority is from Pakistan. Okay, we have somebody from Nigeria as well. Okay, we have somebody from Uganda as well. That's great. Okay, we have Maqsood Ahmed from Ukara, Pakistan, Zubair from Pakistan, Jahilm, Pakistan. That's great. Kasoor, Pakistan. A lot of the audience is from Pakistan. That's great. We welcome you, everybody. Okay, great. Okay, let's move on with the session. I would first like to introduce our speakers. We have with us Sakshi Sri. She is an author, she is an environmentalist, a researcher, a graphic designer, and a public speaker as well. That's great, Sakshi. And she has written Sakshya and Up Above the World So High. These are two of her works. They promote awareness about climate change, femininity, and self-discovery. She is also serving as Global Youth Ambassador of Their World, and she advocates for youth rights as well. That's amazing, Sakshi. It's lovely to have you in the session.
Thank you so much. Really great to have you here.
Okay, unfortunately, I think we don't have SK Rizwana with us, so we will move forward. Saadatu, over to you. Please introduce Sean Schrader.
Am I audible?
Iman, we can't hear you. You are on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes. Who is this? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm Sheikh Rizwana Kadir Raisa. Sorry because of my unstable internet connection.
Yeah, it's totally all right. Welcome to the session, Rizwana. So let's introduce you now. We also have with us Rizwana, guys. She is a climate activist and she's currently working as a program coordinator in EcoNetwork. She happens to be working on a very interesting topic, which is sustainable biodegradable products, which can easily replace plastic materials. And this is actually very interesting for this session. We all would love to know more about it, Rizwana, as we move forward. Now over to you, Saadatu. Please introduce the rest of our speakers. Are you there, Saadatu?
Yes, sorry. Our two other speakers are Seku Bangura and Shane Schrader. Seku Bangura is the current ambassador on sustainable development goals in Sierra Leone, an advocate against single-use plastic, and a professional teacher. He is currently undergoing his master's degree in project management at Atlantic International University, USA. We also have Sean Schrader, a graduate student at the University of South Florida, pursuing his master's degree in business administration. He is very passionate about making a positive impact in his community. So I think if all the speakers are here, you can start the session. Start history, are you there?
Yes, I am, Siddhartha. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Dadu, I am here.
Saadatu, did you introduce Juan? I'm sorry. Saadatu, there's a lot of discussion from your side.
Safi, are you there?
Yes, I am.
You can go ahead and start your presentation.
All right, thank you.
Sakshi, hold on a second. I think that she forgot to introduce our last speaker, so I would do that for her. Guys, we also have with us Sean Schrader. He is a graduate student at the University of South Florida. He's pursuing his master's degree in business administration. And Sean is he's very passionate about making a positive impact on this community, and he would love to pursue a career that reflects that passions. Welcome to the session, Sean.
Thank you.
Yes, Sakshi, let's start with your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'm starting. Thank you. So I'm starting with my presentation. And first of all, happy World Environment Day, because we are gathered here on this day. And we have, are you guys seeing my portal?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, great. So yes, we are gathered here for the beating plastic pollution. So first of all, I want to ask you guys, what is plastic? So basically, we all know that plastic is our right hand. Here you go. Plastic is our right hand, but it pollutes our land. Okay. So now you might be thinking that, again, plastic pollution, we hear this every single day. I know that this is a very cliche thing, but the awareness that needs to be spread. Plastic pollution is now damaging our environment day by day. When I was young, my father was worried about the plastics. As I am growing up, I'm also worrying about the plastics. I'm asking you guys, will the next generation also have to worry about the same? Will they add plastics to their basic necessities? I hope not, because plastic is hard to dispose and contributes to the environment problems. And do you know the causes of that plastic pollutions? So I am here. One sec. Yes. So here are the causes of the plastic pollutions, that it is economical and easy to use. And it is an advantage for us that it is economical and it is easy to use. It is very much friendly, but due to this, it is very excessively used. And because of the making containers, utensils, vessels, bags, etc. And because of this, there is an increase in the number of plastic waste. Secondly, I want to add on the causes of the plastic pollution, and that is non-degradable and non-biodegradable. Plastic is hard to dispose, and soil and water, it stays in the environment for the hundred of years, contributing to the air, soil, and water pollution. So I have already said to you guys that, okay, this is the plastic pollution. We are here gathered here to know plastic pollution, to know the solutions, but let us understand the effects of that plastic pollution. So here we go, the serious effects that need to be addressed on, and these are the effects of plastic pollution. So it pollutes water, it pollutes land, it pollutes marine life, it pollutes negative impact on health, it pollutes economy. So we all know that plastic, after its journey, reaches to the water bodies like rivers, lakes, oceans, etc. It has a negative repercussion on our health even after filtering it again and again. And secondly, it pollutes land. That is, plastic releases chemicals, toxic chemicals, which penetrates into the soil and degrade its quality and fertility. This is an impact that in the growth of the crops, as well as they are also increasing the diseases deadly that causes the carriers, example mosquitoes, and it also harms the marine life. Because of that, plastic marine creatures misunderstood with it their food, and it gets stuck into their intestine and choke them to death. So these are kind of impacts that we really need to focus on. Now, what we are going to understand the practical solutions, because we have already seen the real effects of plastic pollution, which are impacting our environment, which impacting our health, which impacting our economy, and everything else. And we have to survive. The solution for dealing with this plastic pollution is very much needed. A plastic-free planet should not be only for the privileged one, but should also be provide solution to the alternatives, and depending on the people upon the cheap, light, and accessible materials. So what are these kind of, I'm really sorry for that. Hold on a second. I guess there are some mistakes that happen. Okay. Let me address it again. Are you guys seeing this portal? Are you able to see the portals?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So yes, what you guys are seeing is the 3 R's that we have already heard of. Very frequently, we are using these kind of words, that reuse, reduce, and recycle. The first and foremost method that we use is itself, that is plastic. Simple, right? Just try it for once. It really helps to prevent our plastic pollutions. We forget, but what we do is to forget the 4th R. What is that? That is refuse. We always used to say the corporate world that, okay, the Lay's chips are covered with the wraps of plastic, the plastic cups are going to be used, but we never refuse to take it because it is easy to use, it is economical, it is easy to take on. If a person has difficulty in avoiding the plastic, ask them to reuse it again and again before disposing them. Because if you can't dispose it and if you can't recycle it, it can lead to a big landfill. Okay, well, this recycle story is not as simple as it sounds. When I put my shampoo bottle to that dustbin, okay, and it does not always make its way, that we think the material that is used to make the plastic bottles that melt into down, and then after create a new plastic bottle, and with that economical value. That is what recycling is about, right? So I want to take on that we have the old material, we have to recycle it with the equivalent thing. This is what recycling is. But this is not the same thing that it is going on right now. Plastic can't be recycled on the way we think. You are seeing the picture that, right, we have seen before, that is reuse, reduce, and recycle. It does not mean at all. It is just the frame to tell you the numbers of what type of plastic any given product is made up of, like polyethylene, terephthalate, these kind of plastic that is growing nowadays. And nobody is taking account on this because of certain events that we are going on. In fact, globally, we produce about 430 million tons of a plastic every year, and just 9% of that ends up in being recycled. So it's clearly something that we need to deal with. And recycling is not the only answer and only solution. We need to rethink the entire system of political plastic production, and we need to redesign this plastic production system. So, for example, I want to say one thing. Here, I can say one example over here, that is, we liquefy a lot of stuff that is in 20 years ago was not liquid. Let's take a soap for laundry detergent, or it's largely liquid nowadays in certainly India and global market. It is used to be a powder, and therefore it could be transported in a carbon box. Let's think about a soap that we wash our hands. I guess everyone used to wash our hands, right? So we think of it, and we, I guess, see that, okay, these are now liquid. Before that, it was in a bar. And now we need to convenience, because of one pump, it is very convenient for us to take on the liquid sanitizers before using it to the bar. So we have to ask ourselves, if it all these worth it? Yes, it is convenience. Convenience for us, not for the environment. So yes, we need to ask ourselves first. We need to rethink and redesign the products themselves. We need to make sure that we minimize that wasteful single use of plastics we are going to be using for 10 minutes by buying that tomatoes from a vegetable market to home. And then thereafter, depending on that kind of polymer, it could between 100 and 10,000 years in the landfills. That's not just a very efficient use of scarce source. We really need to think of some new models of the sustainable living. So talking about these, I want to add on about circularity. We all are going with a new area of model, that is circular economy. Circularity is not only the solution, but it is one of the element of its solution. That means to take back the schemes, whether it's extended producer responsibility or whether it's municipal take back schemes. Many things we have seen across the countries. I want to add on an example here, that is in Chile, which is a very poor country than US, of course. But there is a unique mechanism that they are adopting right now. You buy a bottle, and that is for yours and for your keeping, and it has an electronic little gadget, so that when you go to the machine, you will see the machine, and machine knows that it's your bottle. You put in the machine money that you want, and then after you get the detergent, and from that machine that you want. Like if you can only afford this much, then what you get, you will receive. And if you want to, you can afford more, then you can buy more. So we feel schemes are quite interesting. It's very difficult to do these changes in big size in this system. The good thing is that and I really think of this, that I think across the political spectrum from right to left and across the world, there is a desire to find a solution. There's really a desire. And that's really unique, because we are desiring to find a solution. We are here to find the solutions. And we need a sustainable solution to our plastic waste, an alternative to the plastic. But I want to add on that I want you to reimagine a plastic. Okay, just think of plastic, and it's still a plastic, right? But there's a difference. It's not made of renewable fossil fuels. It is made of it is not made of non-renewable fossil fuels. It is made of renewable fossil fuels. Renewable material like plants, seaweed, bacteria, or even food waste. It is biodegradable, which means that it does not take centuries or forever to break down. So what is this? This is bioplastic. Yes, you heard right. It exists. It really exists here. And it is the one of the alternative to the plastic. And unlike the traditional plastic, it is kind of no need to use the fossil fuel to damage the environment to create plastic. And for example, there is single-use straws made up of traditional plastic that can take up to 200 years to degrade on land or in the ocean. However, single-use straws made up of PHAs that will degrade in just 90 days when buried in soil or 180 days in the ocean. Even I was drinking cold coffee yesterday in Tetra Pak of Nestle, and that also shifted from plastic straws to paper straws, and with a tagline that we are using is for first time, and this is for preventive measures for plastic pollution. Yes, second thing is cloth bags. We can or take an alternative as a cloth bag by reducing the plastic bags. And I bought a small step bag that foldable and easy to use, easy to clean. So these kind of steps that we can take over, small steps that we need to take over. Some other steps that we need to take over, that is clay bottles. Plastic bottles used to store water take around 1,000 years to biodegrade and produce toxic upon incineration. And we really need to take on alternatives to these, and clay bottles are eco-friendly alternatives to this. It also have other benefits like healthier benefits, that is water to keep cool. Then after, it also ions for India. India is using clay bottles very frequently and very in a large amount, because it is very biodegradable and easy to use. It is for good for summer heat. It is good for our health. It is also good for our, it cools the temperature. So yes, we are shifting from plastic to other alternatives. So here I have also written earthen cookware, these kind of alternatives that we need to focus on. So talking about my experiences as I guess Miss Iman has already explained about me. So I want to take on one thing, that is, according to me, if you create a sense of achievement and self-worth in people, they will go to any extent to ensure the project you envision are executed successfully. I firmly believe that every person in the system, in the village or in the district or in the country you serve is a source, is a resource. Each of them have ideas that you need to potentially do something. You just have to raise the consciousness among the people and encourage the fresher ideas and recognition that their efforts are much needed here. Every single person has something to say. Every single person has some new ideas, fresher ideas that we need to take on, because we have no dearth of money. We have a dearth of intention nowadays. So the challenges in waste management I have already worked on, that is self-sustainable model, and where I with my teammates and district magistrate, that is DM, which is working on district level, the local level approach, and we have taken into consideration that government need to take care, but individual level we have to do something on a daily day basis, and to collect and to segregate the wastage, and everyone pays for it. And this is what I need to take on. And the last thing I want to say, that is, plastic is a great material. I'm not denying with it. But right now, it's against us, simply because of the irresponsible usage. This is our planet. This is our time on this planet. Let's do the right things. Let's future generation look at us to responsible generation for the people. Let's make this happen. We really need to take on it. And one tiny note that I want to say here, that tiny drops of water make the mighty ocean, and which really means that little things that we do today yield us a bigger and better future, and with a greater fruits. And on this occasion, let us vow to reduce the use of plastics and make a world very happier. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sakshi. This was an amazing presentation. Really, it was great. Your explanation and your ideas, they're much appreciated, and I hope everyone has benefited from this. I would like to call forward Sean Schrader. Please present your ideas and your insights.
Well, thank you very much. It's hard to follow up with that great presentation you just gave. It's really exciting to be here, and more than anything, to be able to sort of frame this conversation around, I think, some of the small steps that can be taken to promote sustainability and the different ways, that we are engaging on it on a regular basis. And I think more than anything, too, it's important because when you think about the differences in our community and things like that, regardless of your background, it's so important to be able to, have the ability to share and showcase, what's working, what's not, and what needs to be changed for the future. So, to begin, just a little bit about me. I know it was talked about already. But I'm a business student at the University of South Florida here in the United States, and one of the experiences I had several years ago that really got me thinking about sustainability and managing, plastic waste and how to combat these challenges was serving as a fellow with the Millennium Fellowship Organization, which, if you haven't already, I'd really encourage you to take a look at this organization. It's really based throughout the world. And what it does is it empowers students who are youth to take on projects related to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And it's a really great way to meet a cohort of different leaders from around the world while really getting to understand the impacts you can be making individually in addressing the UN Sustainable Development Goals. I also was very fortunate to be a attendee, a U.S. delegate at the 2023 United Nations Economic and Social Council Youth Forum. And I think it was great to be at that, relating back to this conference, just because it's very clear that we have got some massive, massive challenges right now if we want to be on track to address the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, because the clock is ticking. We've got to move into action, and that is really, really important. And that sort of ties all in to what I'll be talking about today, in the idea that you can be taking small steps to take change and create change, really, in your community with a positive attitude and the ability to identify what's going on. So I think the first step when we think about plastic pollution and plastic waste, and identifying that as a challenge, is you've got to identify the problem that is specific to your community, because I think that's one of the biggest challenges, understanding how is plastic waste contributing to your community, and it may be in different ways than it's impacting another community. So, for example, where I live in Tampa Bay in Florida in the United States, Florida is really surrounded by water. And so one of the biggest challenges impacting our communities, you have a lot of plastic waste that's along the waterways, along the beaches. That then in turn harms marine life, that pollutes the waterways, things of that nature. Whereas in a different community, plastic waste may be something that's more found on land or any other number of challenges. So I think that the first step in your own community is understanding how is plastic waste prevalent right now. And that can be done through conferring with community stakeholders, talking to environmental experts to understand the current challenges in place, and then seeing firsthand how the problem is impacting others in your community. So understanding, if you are to create a solution, how's that going to help other people? Why is it important to take on this challenge of addressing plastic pollution that's in your own community? And I think then, off of all of this research you do and understanding the problem, the direct, immediate problem that's taking place, is creating a why statement or a question, going off of the idea of why are you doing this? Why do you want to be engaging in this activity? And why do you want to have other people buy into this? Whether that's support through funding to take on the project, volunteering to clean up plastic waste, whatever it is, why do you want to help other people get motivated to get involved and ultimately benefit the community as a whole? The next thing I think is very important is, once you've identified your problem, is to create solutions through goal setting. And this is very important because I think a lot of times there's so many great ideas out there, so many great ideas, But at the onset, if you don't have goals that you think are attainable, which can be attained, within a certain number of days, within a certain number of months, etc., stuff really falls, below the cracks, and things really get off track. So I think that goal setting is super important, and they've got to be goals that are attainable. So this really is possible through understanding what's worked already in the community and what has not. Likely, if there's a problem with plastic waste and pollution, as long as you have members of the community which care, which in almost every community there is, somebody likely has already been brainstorming what could be done maybe to address this problem. And then, speaking with some of these stakeholders, you can understand what's been working to address the goal and maybe why they weren't able to pursue what they'd hoped for in reducing the plastic waste to begin with. Another important area, again, is like we discussed, determining the role that stakeholders can play in problem solving. And again, stakeholders can be defined in a lot of ways. Are those your fellow youth that want to get engaged and help volunteer and lead efforts? Is that an organization that's based in the region, maybe that could provide funding, that could provide manpower, that could provide, an ability to help with assistance from, an organizational standpoint? Anything like that is very important. And I think tying into our, statement of purpose, creating a mission statement is also very, very important, because a mission statement has the ability to define what the aim of your project is, what the aim of your goal is, so that when you talk to people, when you talk to those that are interested in getting involved and really just communicating the incredible efforts you're working on, you're able to clearly show and showcase why this project is so important, or what you're hoping to attain, through taking on these efforts. And I think, like we talked about already, having the ability, once you've done all of these things, to step back and visualize in a perfect environment where you are able to get volunteers involved. Maybe you're able to get monetary support if necessary. You're able to get the buy-in of local community stakeholders in addressing your goal of taking on, combating plastic waste in one way or another. Having the ability to create goals that you think can be attained in 6 months or a year from now is very, very important. I think that allows you to stay on track, and that makes sure that you're able to remain accountable, and things are able to progress, which is really, really important. I think the other big piece of this, once you've gone through these initial steps, is remaining accountable through implementation. And I think that this can be done in a lot of different ways, but the first really important thing is holding the stakeholders that you have agreed to work with, again, whether that's through, monetary support, that is through, organizational support, through volunteering, things of that nature. Holding them to the initial level of commitment that they promised is very, very important to ensure, again, everybody's committed, everybody is, following through their commitments and promises, and the goal that was initially set is able to turn to reality. I think another big thing is understanding that, adaptability is key to problem solving in real time. And, this can be very hard sometimes when you're working through a challenge, working through a project you want to address, and something is not going to go as planned. Having the ability to pivot a little bit so that the project can continue on, things can continue on as planned, is very, very important, because always, it's not the case that you're going to have a situation where the project goes from start to finish without any kind of hiccup in the road. A lot of times there's going to be a situation where you've got to be able to adapt in real time to another challenge that's come up. Maybe one of the stakeholders that you've worked with isn't willing to provide support anymore, and you've got to find somebody else. Anything like that requires real-time problem solving is really, really important. And I think that sort of ties in then with reviewing your goals. The goals that you set, like we talked about, within 6 months to a year that you want to hopefully attain. Having the ability to pivot a little bit is necessary to update those goals, whether maybe that's to, collect even more, plastics in your community, or that's maybe to, reduce that if necessary. Hopefully not, but I think that's important to be able to review the goals and understand how they can be shifted, because again, stuff comes up, you got to make changes in real time. And I think then also at the end of 6 months or a year, when you had set the initial goals and then they're come to completion, I think it's important to reflect, of course, on the great work you've done to address the challenge relating to plastic pollution, but at the same time, understanding, maybe what didn't work as well. What could you do in the future if you were to replicate this process? Do you think would go over easier? And how could you kind of pivot in the future? And going off of all of that, I wanted to briefly share an experience I had with the Millennium Fellowship back in 2021. I was selected to be a Millennium Fellow, and I had the privilege to work alongside a cohort of my fellow students at the University of South Florida to address sustainable development challenges. And so the challenge I chose to focus on was in addressing the SDG 11, which is, really supporting sustainable cities and communities. And through all of this, I chose to create a project in which students who were in need of school supplies would be able to get their school supplies and would have the school supplies like pencil, pencil sharpener, ruler, things of that nature, but they would not be made of plastic. All of these materials would be comprised of items that could be reused. So you have a metal pencil sharpener, maybe you have a bamboo pencil, things of that nature. And, what was really exciting throughout the entire process, one, of course, was getting to understand how a project can be completed in the community. But more than anything, it was getting the ability to impress upon my fellow students that, you think about a massive challenge like plastic pollution and how it relates to the global challenge of protecting our environment. You think, well, maybe that's not very significant if one person gets a little toolkit with school supplies that don't have plastic in them. But what I learned so quickly is that when you talk to students and you show them, what is possible through one person taking steps to be cognizant of their own footprint when it comes to plastic use and plastic waste, that makes such a difference. And then being able to spread that message. So then that student was able to go to their own friends, their own peers, and sort of spread that own message. And so I hope that what I've shared today and my story really ties back in to the greater idea that, again, the challenges that we face today are very massive, that should not be dismissed at all. However, I think that when we all share a passion and a vision for taking steps to create change, massive change does not come overnight, the same way these massive problems have not come about overnight. When we all take steps, you're all committed to it, you empower others in your own community to make a difference. That's what is able to really ensure that we're focused on the future and that we have a bright future. So thank you very much for your time. My email address is right here. I'm on LinkedIn as well. Would love to connect with you all if you all have any questions or anything like that. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean, for sharing your strategic perspective on first identifying the problem, then creating solutions, and then setting goals, and most importantly, staying accountable through the implementation process. And lastly, thank you for sharing your experience as well. Now I would like to call SK Rizwana. Are you still in the session? Please do share your insights. Oh, there you are.
Yes. Thank you so much, Iman, for giving me this opportunity. Am I audible? Am I clear?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, everyone. And it's an absolute pleasure to have this platform before all of you today and address an issue of utmost importance, one that concerns us all, plastic pollution. So let me just share my screen first. And okay, so can you guys see my screen? Is visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you so much. So the presence of plastic waste in our environment has reached alarming levels, and it is high time we take a proactive stance to combat this crisis. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce to you a set of practical solutions that can make a significant difference in our battle against plastic pollution. Plastic pollution is a global problem that poses a grave threat to our planet's ecosystem, wildlife, and even human health. It is estimated that over 8 million metric tons of plastic enter our oceans every year, causing irreparable damage to marine life and contaminating our water resources. The accumulation of plastic waste in landfills and natural habitats is not only an eyesore but also a ticking time bomb that affects our entire ecosystem. However, we cannot let this bleak scenario discourage us. Instead, we must channel our collective efforts towards finding viable solutions. The good news is that practical measures are being developed and implemented around the world to tackle this issue head on. Allow me to share you some of the most promising solutions that can help us combat plastic pollution. Let me introduce myself first. Myself, Sheikh Rizwana Kadir Raisa. I'm the program coordinator of Eco Network, and I've been working on biodiversity conservation for past 5 years. So let us first, as at first, we need to have a clear concept of plastic pollution. So what is plastic pollution? It refers to the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, particularly in landfills, water bodies like rivers and oceans and natural habitats. It is a global environmental issue that arises from the excessive use of improper disposal of plastic materials. Plastic pollution occurs when plastic products such as bottles, bags, packaging materials, and other single-use items are discarded and not properly managed. These plastics often end up in the environment where they do not biodegrade like natural materials. Instead, they break down into smaller fragments over time, known as microplastics. The impact of plastic pollution is far-reaching and poses a significant threat to ecosystems, wildlife, and human health. When plastic waste enters rivers and oceans, it can harm marine life, such as fish, seabirds, and marine mammals, though through ingestion or entanglement. It disrupts their habitat, causes injuries, and can even lead to death. Plastic pollution also affects terrestrial environment. It litters landscapes, pollutes soil, and can harm animals that mistake it for food or become entangled in it. Furthermore, plastic waste can leach harmful chemicals also into the soil and water, posing risk to plant and animal life, as well as potentially entering the human food chain. Now the question is, do we have any solutions or not? Well, of course we have. Technologies are available nowadays, solutions are available, our conscience is just calling. The biggest obstacle in eliminating plastic pollution is man's lack of willingness to pay actual price of recycling. The solutions are quite impossible unless there is a clear understanding of the subject. There is a single best solution for reducing plastic waste. Depending on the type of plastic waste, depending on the situation, there are multiple options. The easiest three options are recycle, reuse, and reduce. So how can we reuse plastic materials? We can use them as containers or plant pots, DIY crafts, also shopping bags, cans, plastic, donations, giveaways, and many more ways. And secondly, recycling plays a vital role in mitigating plastic pollution. Efforts must be made to improve recycling infrastructure and promote the recycling of all types of plastic. By designing products with recycling in mind, we can create a closed loop system where plastic waste is minimized and materials are continuously reused and recycled. This approach encourages innovation, collaboration, and sustainable practices. paving the way for a more environmentally friendly future. But most importantly, we need to focus on reducing our overall plastic consumption. This can be achieved through public awareness campaigns, education and policy changes, encouraging individuals and businesses to optimize for alternatives to single-use plastics, such as reusable bags or bottles and containers, can significantly reduce the amount of plastic waste regenerated. Okay, so we can also use natural products. Already, Sakshi has been told her presentation that we can use bioplastic. Yes, bioplastics are amazing alternatives for plastic materials. It is easily biodegradable, and plant-based fibers is another natural product. We can use sugarcane fibers, we can use jute fibers. Also, we can use cornstarch to make the alternative products of plastic material. Also, in some countries, Europe countries, we can say mushroom, we can get fibers from mushroom, which can be used in packaging material. Also, seaweed-based packaging, natural fiber composite, paper and cardboard, glass and metal, also natural rubber. Okay, so these are some plant-based materials which can be used to manufacture bags in the alternative of plastic bags, like jute, cornstarch, sugarcane fiber, cellulose, hemp. Sun hemp is a very good alternative material. Also bamboo, cotton, seaweed, and mushroom, algae. So the most devastating plastic material is single-use plastic. The most single-use plastics are plastic bottles. The mineral water manufacturer or mineral water suppliers can get easily plastic materials in just 0.5 cents. It would be cost for one bottle, and so much less costly material increase or motivate them to use plastics more and more. Also, we can see that people are using one-time use plates, glass in many functions or events. Even toothpaste tube or toothpaste brush, they are also a very rapidly used plastic material, and also they easily broke down and affect the human health by transforming into microplastic. Also, we can see chips packets, straws, cotton bud sticks, straws and stirrers, etc. All are single-use plastic. So what are the alternatives? Plastic use materials can be easily alternated by plant-based or biodegradable sustainable products. We can use glass, platinum, silicone, wood, bamboo, also pottery and other ceramics. So I have seen that some are commenting or asking questions that if we can alternate plastic materials into sustainable biodegradable products, then why we are not using it? Why we are not adapting it? See, we have many green entrepreneurs nowadays. They are making biodegradable products, they are promoting them. But the main issue is that if a plastic manufacturer gets 0.5 cents for a unit of plastic material, and if he has to buy the biodegradable product instead of that plastic material, they have to pay more. Suppose they may have to pay 3 times or 4 times more money for them. So why would a businessman or why would an entrepreneur would pay more money to a product and will skip the less costly product? So here what the role of policymakers have to play. They mainly have to do two important roles. First, they have to give subsidy to green entrepreneurs so that they can give or supply the sustainable products in a less costly or in a less amount to the manufacturers or to the mass people. And the policymakers have to increase tax in plastic products so that if we want to buy plastics, we have to pay more. If these two, if these two rules or regulations they can pay, it will be easy for us, for the mass people, to adapt that sustainable or plant-based products instead of plastic. So in this case, governments and industry should work together to develop innovative technologies that can effectively recycle and repurpose plastic waste, transforming it into valuable resources, fostering innovation and supporting research and development in the field of alternative materials is essential. Scientists and entrepreneurs are already exploring biodegradable and compostable alternatives to conventional plastic, already what I have mentioned earlier. So also implementation of strict regulations and policies have to be made. Governments need to enact legislation that discourages the product and use of unnecessary plastic, incentivizes eco-friendly alternatives, and holds polluters accountable. International collaborations and agreements are also crucial to address the transboundary nature of plastic pollution and promote a unified global response. And thus, we can wipe out the plastic. This is a major problem for environment for us nowadays, plastic pollution. So let us wipe out plastic before it wipes us out. Thank you so much, everyone who were with me, and thank you so much for organizing this session. Happy environment to all. Let's all come forward together and restore Mother Nature. Thank you so much. That's all for me.
Thank you so much, Rizwana, for sharing the solutions and also the alternatives that you've told us, especially for the bags. I love that part. And you also told us about the role of policymakers by increasing the taxes on plastic products. That was amazing. We loved your presentation. And do we have Sheku in the session, our last speaker? I think not, unfortunately. Let's move towards the questions, as our audience is having a bunch of questions. Please write down your questions once again so I can ask our speakers. Okay, I have a question for all the speakers. Yes, the question is that why do you think, in your opinion, that plastic waste pollution is still increasing despite the efforts that are made by the concerned bodies, like in raising the awareness? Why do you think that is the problem?
Well, from my perspective, I think it's just the ignoring part, because we are ignoring the major cause and we are ignoring the what can be the impact. Because of that, we are not questioning the corporate influence, we are not questioning our doing on that, and we are not starting our individual playthrough on this. And because of that, we are just growing the plastic in like a hero and not the monster, because we the plastic is can create can create an image like a monster, and we have to look into that. So because of that, because of these kind of factors, this can be included as a growing plastic pollution.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with all that. I would also say I think part of the challenge is telling some that this is even an issue they should be cognizant of. I think some people just kind of think, oh, if I just have as much plastic as I want, I don't recycle what I'm using, that's really no big deal. And I think part of it is, again, it's like everybody's got to be to acknowledge that there's a problem. Everybody's got to be on the same page. There's an issue to begin with. If we don't all agree that there's a problem, then we can't even start talking about the solutions.
Yes, true, Sean. Agreed. Rizwana, do you?
Okay, so as I said that if I can get a plastic bottle mineral water in just 1 rupee or in just 5 rupees, and if it is based on plant-based, then the cost will be higher and I have to pay at 40 or 50 rupees. Why would I buy that? Right? I would go for the less costly product. Like that, the policymakers have to act here. They have to give subsidies. They had to increase tax of plastic so that the balance can get equal. We have an equal balance. So I think maybe this is the main issue, that despite we all know plastic pollution, the effect of plastic, we are not able to adapt the sustainable products.
Yes, true, Rizwana. It really all comes down to awareness, basically. We have a very interesting question by Zubair in the chat box. The question is, can using paper bags instead of plastic cans promote deforestation?
Well, I'm agreeing with Zubair that yes, it can create deforestation, but to some extent, because we have other alternatives also. Because we can use cloth bags, we can use the recycled paper on it. So this can't be create a huge level of deforestation, because we can plant more and more trees. We can create the alternatives to that. So these can be take a balance between these kind of things. So yes, it is totally agree some extent, and we should make a balance.
Okay. I'd like to add something with Sakshi. Yes, paper bags can increase deforestation, but if we think about plastic pollution, we are not promoting only paper bags. We are also encouraging using jute fibers, sugarcane fibers, corn starch. These are even byproducts of the crops. These are the residues of the crop. So by using these products, you can not only encouraging people to in agricultural background, but also you are utilizing the crop residues. You are utilizing the byproducts of the crop. So I think it is a positive way. In a positive way, I think I have cleared out what I wanted to say.
Excuse me, I would like to add something more in this. Can I?
Yes, sure. Go ahead, Aisha.
Deforestation might be caused, but if we look through this perspective, that the decomposition of a plastic can take up to 50 to 200 years. As for a paper, it only takes 2 to 3 months for the decomposition, though we can regrow the trees. Hence, the use of paper bags can prevent much more plastic pollution as compared to the deforestation, because a plant can be, or tree can be rebuilt. That's my point of view, as I see it that this way.
Yes, thank you so much, Aisha, for your input.
Welcome.
We have a question from Zakir. He says, I have a question. Do you think, is it feasible to convince influencers and celebrities to promote more sustainability when they come on screen, such as use sustainable products like water bottles, use tote bags, reuse the clothes, and so on? This actually, it comes under, awareness and
Yeah, I think personally that's very helpful. I think anything people can be doing, I think goes back to that larger argument of making people aware that they should be cognizant of their own footprint, from a sustainable perspective. And I think too, a lot of these celebrities are seen as leaders, they're seen as role models in a lot of different ways. And so I think that when you have their followers see that, then I hope and I think that compels them to say, well, maybe I can take a difference too.
Yes, true. Because these days we are a generation of trends, and if we, make a trend of saying no to plastic, we can really make a difference by that. Saadatu, are you in the session? Do we have more questions? Saadatu, are you there?
Yes, I'm still in the session.
Yes, please go on.
We have more questions. We have a question from Nur stations for the production of like gas and coal. He thinks non-renewable energy sources, all these plastic pollution can be used in thermal power stations. So what do you think? Is it Hello? Can you hear me?
Saadatu, we couldn't hear the question properly.
Oh. So it is a question from the audience. The question goes like this. Say, can we use plastic eating bacteria to reduce plastic pollution? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, your voice is clear. Yes, please.
Saadatu, we couldn't get your question. We have another question in the chat box. It's by Noor Nabi. He says, why don't we use the plastic waste in thermal power stations for the production of electrical energy instead of using fossil fuels like gas, petroleum, and coal? Because these are also non-renewable energy resources, which will be safe by using plastic in thermal power stations. The question basically is, why don't we use the plastic waste in thermal power stations?
Well, no, we are working on it, and currently there is less awareness, less research on it, but we are conducting some research over it, and we are looking forward to grow more thermal station, which is eco-friendly, which is more on renewable energies, and which is more on the basis of the less plastic pollution and less any kind of environmental climate change pollution. So yes, we are on the way to research on it. We are on the way to replace on it, because we are going to lead the world, and we are going to take on the call of how can we reduce the climate change, how can we reduce the plastic pollutions. So yes, we are going on it, and we are working on it. Thank you for the question.
Okay. Plastic waste in thermal power station, I think personally this is a very bad idea. Why? Because if you incinerate plastic in thermal power plants, it will greatly, even devastatingly impact on climate change, because the chemicals we use, the chemical compounds or chemical structures which are in plastic bags or plastic materials, if they incinerate, they will react with the air, they will react with the they will react with the components of the atmosphere, and it will create toxic substance, which is very hampered, which will hamper the human body, the animal planet, and totally the whole world. So yes, it's heard that why don't we incinerate plastic? Let's just take it to the thermal power stations, as we're having many many non-renewable energy sources. Like we are burning fossil fuels, we are having carbons as producing electricity. So why not plastic? But please don't think that incinerating plastics, generating electricity from it is a great idea to reduce plastic pollution. No, it is a very bad idea because you are greatly hampering the environment. The chemicals, it is a very toxic substance to us, to the animals, to the marine ecosystem. So I don't think it's a good idea. You will even make it worse. It's my personal opinion.
Thank you, Rizwana. Thank you for your insights. Okay, everybody, I think we have taken a lot of questions. Now, can everybody open their cameras, turn on their cameras, so we can take an electronic picture for our social media platforms? If you all are comfortable. Thank you. Okay, great. We almost have 4 screens, so we'll be taking pictures in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. I think one more for the other screen. In 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, everybody. I think this was an amazing session. We've learned a lot, we've benefited a lot, and thank you for all the answers. We are very grateful for our speakers for taking your precious time out for this session. Thank you so much for your insights. Also, for the audience, for the participants, Mariam Ikan will share the link in the chat box so you can mark your attendance for the session. And you all will be receiving those electronic certificates. And thank you to the audience as well.
Also, we are going to have our next session at 8:30 Pakistan time, like in 20 minutes. So you can leave the meeting and rejoin again in 20 minutes, or you can stay here for the next session. The next session is Pakistan based. So it will be more in our national language, in the national language of Pakistan, in Urdu. So if you understand Urdu, you can always stay. But that is going to be Pakistan-centered session. So all the Pakistanis are requested to stay. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And it is so nice to have you all here. You people rocked today and yesterday as well. And I'm really excited to connect with you again and again. So if you want to join The Earth Needs Love, you can visit our website and contact through website. That is www.theearthneedslove.com, or you can simply reply to the email which you have received from us to join the platform. You can be the part of Eco Club. Might be your country have one. So just for your information, we have Eco Clubs in 4 different countries right now. We have in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, and Kenya. So if you are from one country, you can always join. Or if you want to establish your own Eco Club, you can always contact us. And thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much to the moderators, to the speakers. All the speakers were amazing. Your presentations were very insightful. I would really appreciate if you can share your presentation with the moderators so we can reshare your presentation with the audience who were asking for that. Thank you so much, Sean, Sakshi, Rizwana, Sadatu, and Iman, of course. Thank you so much for conducting the sessions. That's all for this session. The next session is going to be Pakistan Center, and it will be in Urdu and English, both. So if you understand Urdu, you can always stay. So yeah, that's all for today. for the international speakers. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. And don't forget to mark your attendance. Please mark your attendance. The link is in the chat. This is the only way you can get your certificate. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sakshi. Thank you, Rizwana.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. It's great to be with you all.
Yeah, same here.
It was
Thank you.
lovely to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Allah Hafiz.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes.
Goodbye, everybody. Nice to meet you.
Thank you
all.
so much, everyone.
Thank you. Please. If you are from Pakistan and you want to stay for the next session, you can stay. The session is going to start at 8:30. You still have 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, we will commence the next session. That session is going to be the last session as well. And the people, for Pakistanis, you are required to attend all 6 sessions to get the award or Plastic Warrior Award. And if you are an international member, you were required to attend 5 sessions, which almost everybody did. So you just made yourself eligible to get the Plastic Warrior Award. But for the Pakistanis, please do stay and let's wait for the next session to commence. Thank you so much.